All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show as we turn our attention once again to the debate taking place starting today. Although the Senate Foreign Relations Committee is having hearings. They got Hagel and Kerry and the head of the Joint Chiefs. And joining us right now to talk about the situation with regards to Syria is our friend, Congressman Pete Hoekstra, former congressman, former chair of the House Intelligence Committee. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing just fine. Thank you, Steve.
Always my pleasure to talk to you. Okay, so John Boehner came out today, the Speaker of the House, and he gave Obama his support. Eric Cantor gave Obama his support. There are others on board, and of course there are those who are not so sure and are dead set against it. Where do you weigh in?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm disappointed with where the debate was going. I thought that when the president on Saturday asked for a pause and said, let's wait, I'm going to go to Congress, I thought that would have opened up a bigger discussion about the direction that America was going to go in the Middle East, not just about Syria, but taking a look at the policies over the last 12 years that have not achieved the results that we've wanted them to achieve. Iraq has been a disappointing result. Afghanistan's headed in the same direction. Syria has been a disappointing result. Libya has. And just taking a look back and reflecting and saying, what we've been embarked on has not worked. Let's step back. Let's see if we can't figure out what is broken and develop a more comprehensive strategy. But that debate has not taken place. It's all a debate about whether we're going to send in some cruise missiles and to do some bombing over a 30-day period. The goal and the objective is not clear as to what we're going to accomplish in Syria. What's going to result afterwards? No one's talking about, and what the larger strategy is for the Middle East. No one's talking about it. So in light of that, I'm not willing to commit a bunch more dollars to getting involved in a civil war in Syria where we don't have a strategy, we don't know what the outcome's going to be, and we don't have a bigger picture about what our role is going to be in the Middle East.
I'm sitting here watching on the cable stations with the sound off the testimony of Kerry, and they put up on the crawl, the headlines, and Kerry says Assad will weather, quote unquote, the strikes. They're not looking for regime change. They're not looking to take out Assad. First, he said earlier in the testimony, they put up one that said Kerry will not rule anything out, including the remote possibility of boots on the ground. But now, I guess people have objected in the hearing, and he says that we could remedy that by putting in the resolution, no boots on the ground. It just, you know what this is? Can I tell you what this is? This is embarrassing. If this president felt that we should have struck, he should have ordered the strike and let the chips fall where they may. I'm going to go to Congress when they're not even in session. They're not coming back for over a week from when he makes the announcement. He doesn't say we need to have Congress back immediately and cut short their vacation. He tells us that, my military people say there's plenty of time, when all Assad is doing is moving people and planes and weapons all over the place, some into Iran, so there's not plenty of time. This is like a bad joke.
It really is. I think it was a very, very smart move by you to keep the sound off. I made the mistake. I actually turned the sound up, and I was listening to it. And Kerry, you're exactly right. He's saying, well, the objective is not regime change. But at the same time, he's saying that it looks like the moderates are the biggest faction in the opposition, and they're going to be for minority rights and all of these types of things. And it's like, Steve, we don't know, and we don't know who's going to be, if Assad falls, we don't know who's going to rise to power. You remember the Muslim Brotherhood was going to stay out of the elections in Syria, and 8 or 9 months later, we had the Muslim Brotherhood, in Egypt, in Egypt. They weren't going to participate in the elections in Egypt. 9 months later, the Muslim Brotherhood was running Egypt. And we've seen the massacring of Christians. The people that we supported in Libya. Again, people went in and said, don't worry, they're moderates. The people that we supported, that we trained and we equipped, the ones that we thought that we could control. Steve, you and I both know some of those are the same ones that attacked our consulate and attacked the safe house in Benghazi, killed the ambassador, and killed 3 other Americans.
And, Congressman, that's exactly what's happening here. And the poll question has been put to America, should we bomb Syria? And overwhelmingly, people say no. But I got a better poll question. Should we help the rebels knowing full well that many of the rebels are Al-Qaeda. I bet you'd see 90% of Americans saying no. And this is something that the media just doesn't want to talk about. I mean, these are Al-Qaeda and Muslim Brotherhood American haters who would just as soon see us dead and blown up, but now we're useful idiots to them. We're helping them. We're training them. We're giving them weapons. And we're trying to overthrow Assad, who is a dictatorial thug. But here's the thing, Congressman. He has been, and his father has been, for decades. I put up a picture of Kerry and his wife with Assad and his wife from 4 years ago. I put up a picture of Nancy Pelosi with Assad against the wishes of George W. Bush from 3 years ago or 4 years ago, whatever. So why is he all of a sudden Hitler? Why today is he Hitler?
Remember, Hillary Clinton called him the face of reform.
Yep.
I met with Assad a number of years ago in my role on the Intelligence Committee. And we knew he was a bad guy. The problem is, you're exactly right. We don't know what comes after him. I think the director of the FBI, Mueller, has just said, and the security folks in Europe have said the same thing. It's American and European jihadis who are going to Syria to fight on the side of the rebels, and the fear is what they're going to do when they come back to Europe and when they come back to America. Well, if they were freedom-loving, people who embraced democracy and protected minority and religious freedom, we wouldn't be worried about them coming back. But we are, because they're going in. They're going in and they're mixing with the bad folks, and they're learning some really ugly stuff. And we got, this is a really bad situation, and there's been a lack of leadership. I'll also say that if Speaker Boehner and the Majority Leader Eric Cantor really believe that this is the right thing to do, they should then try to work their will on their members. If this is the right thing for America to do in their leadership positions, they've ought to bring America together, not just say, well, every member is going to have their own freedom of conscience to vote. They should help make the case with the president. They're lukewarm on this strategy. I wish they would have waited to embrace it until the president and this administration had answered some more fundamental questions, bigger questions about where we're going. I'm afraid that debate's not going to happen.
We're talking to former Congressman Pete Hoekstra here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You're right, it's not going to happen, and he's not going to have to answer those questions. Let me ask you this. In your former capacity as chair of the House Intelligence Committee, I brought this up to Congressman King earlier, Peter King, and Congressman Garrett earlier. King is for it, and Garrett's against it. But, Israel has been told over and over again. Now they're trying to sell this as we have to protect Israel, and Israel does want us to do this, apparently. But we've been told that Israel has been told, you better not bomb Iran because Hezbollah will be unleashed into our country. And if Hezbollah is unleashed into our country and people start dying in our country, we're going to blame you, Israel. So you better lay off Iran. Well, now Syria and Iran are both threatening to bomb Israel. And what's to stop them from unleashing Hezbollah in our country? From what you know and from what you could say, how big a concern is Hezbollah cells lying in wait in this country to react to something like the bombing of Syria or anything on the command of Iran?
Oh, I think we're all very, very concerned about that. I was concerned about that, and that concern was raised when we were on the Intelligence Committee, and we don't know the full scope of it. Again, we have to be willing to admit how much we don't know, but the threat we believed was real. We just don't know the extent and the scope of it. But remember, they shut down an entire city at the Boston Marathon. You got Captain Colonel Hassan, who killed 14 Americans. You don't need a lot of cells engaging in certain activities to create some massive chaos.
And I'm not saying, Congressman, we shouldn't do what we think is right for the security of this country because we're afraid terrorists will hit us. But where's our national interest in striking Syria, and why risk it for that?
And those are the questions, you're exactly right, that need to be answered. The answer right here can't just be, well, he used chemical weapons, therefore we have to attack. We signed the ban on chemical weapons treaty. So have 170 other countries. Where are they?
And where's Saudi Arabia? If Saudi Arabia wants to take them out, let them use all the jets we send them and take them out. Anyway, Congressman, I thank you so much for your time as always, sir.
Hey, good. We will look forward to talking again soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Take care. Congressman Pete Hoekstra, former chair of the House Intelligence Committee, former congressman from the great state of Michigan. Yeah, very, very interesting. All right, we'll start the next hour if you want to weigh in with phone calls on this, on the president, on anything. But should we bomb Syria or not? Are we hearing the truth? On the Steve Malzberg Show on Newsmax TV and